It's working. I always feel so accomplished when we do that.
Yes. If it's 7 o'clock, it's paint time. Hi, everybody. I'm Kim.
I'm Jade.
Welcome, welcome, and we're so glad to have you here with us. Today, we're going to be doing a redo of the Strong Soul boot painting. And you know what I don't have with me is a finished copy of it. So I'm going to go get that real quick.
Okay. While she's getting that, I will explain. If you hear thumping and you see a giant animal walking past, that's our dog. She usually interrupts these things, but she's probably going to be extra interruptory right now because there's a thunderstorm coming in and all 150 pounds of her gets terrified. So she's inside right now, but that's okay. She's going to help us paint this. We're really excited about this painting. It's beautiful.
It is so pretty. So this is what we're going to be doing. And this was our first painting of the month that we featured in our membership in April.
Yeah.
And so we did an instructional video of it, and we learned so much that we're going to come back and do it again.
That was the positive spin on it, because at first after we did it, we were like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And then we were like, no, but we're excited because there's so many other things we want to implement.
Yeah.
So that was
Sorry.
No.
I'm wearing my never quit shirt because that's the only way to exist in life, is just never quit. And that is what this whole endeavor has been, this huge lesson for us, that just stick with it no matter what and don't quit. And then when you get through the messy middle to the other side, it's really pretty. And that's kind of the way paintings are.
Yeah, that is very true. That's part of what inspires us to do this. And that's part of the whole concept behind Cowgirl grit art, is that it inspires you as you paint this to cultivate grit in other areas too. So we're going to paint this together. I don't know how mine's going to turn out. I know yours is going to turn out beautifully. And it doesn't matter, honestly, how it turns out, because the fact that you tried is what's important.
That's right. And it's the journey that counts. That's the most important part. I love that you tried and enjoy yourself along the way. Inside your paint kit, if you're doing this with us, you have 3 brushes, much prettier than these. These are very tired and used brushes, but you have a 1/2 inch brush, a 1/2 inch flat brush, a 1/4 inch flat brush, and a very teeny tiny liner brush. And we're going to use each brush for different things. Each brush serves a different purpose. And not only will we tell you what to paint and what color to use, but we'll also tell you what brush to use, because it'll really help a lot. But I want you to keep in mind that if you want to go off on your own and use a different brush, use whatever's comfortable for you. A lot of people like to use a smaller brush than what's really necessary, and I'm guilty of the same thing. And if you're enjoying it and that's getting the job done, then you go for it, because this is all about you relaxing, refreshing, renewing, recharging, and just having a good time. You cannot do this wrong. The only way that you can do this wrong is if you don't enjoy yourself.
That's very true. Yes, I think it's going to be good. You also have your assorted paints that you'll find in your paint kit. We're excited about this. I will put a link to it in the chat as well, but you can get this paint kit on cowgirlgritart.com. All of our video tutorials are free, so you can follow along with that. All you need is the kit and the supplies. And if you have, you may have already said this, if you have other paints at home, just feel free to use whatever you want to. You don't have to go along with exactly what we do.
Yes, do whatever colors you want. I mean, you can go to your favorite department store or art and crafts store, and you can get different colors. You don't have to get expensive acrylic paint. That's what we're using, inexpensive acrylic paint. And just use whatever colors you want to.
Yeah.
And you might want to learn how to paint this, and then you can go off and do your own with your own colors or your own design. And we always give you a lot more paint than what you really need, because we want to encourage you to paint and create.
Yes. Yeah, get your own blank canvas and try a different design, try a different kind of boot, different colors. Do you have anything else?
I just want to add, I always like to tell people this in case they haven't joined us before. This is acrylic paint. It is a permanent paint. So if you get some on your clothes or something else that you don't want it on, make sure you wash it off immediately. If you forget or if you miss it and it dries, you can use Murphy's Oil soap, and that is a tremendous help to get things off. Sometimes it requires a little soaking and scrubbing, but it will get it out. You wouldn't believe the things I've gotten out with that stuff. And when you're not using your brush, put your brush in the water, and because the paint will dry on that and it will ruin your brush real quick.
Yeah, it's surprising how fast the paint dries. So Don't procrastinate like me. Get it out immediately. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Unless you don't like that shirt or belong to somebody you don't like, then just get the paint on.
Or if it looks better with paint on it. I've had shirts like that.
That's true. You have a pair of shorts or a pair of jeans. Just slap it on there and
Just
go.
make your own, create your own new wardrobe.
See, free tips that you wouldn't get otherwise. Y'all, this has been a long day and honestly a very long week for us. If you're watching this recorded, this is Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time in Texas. And it's been good, but it's been kind of crazy. So we've been talking all day long about the things that we've been doing that are evidence that our brains are fried. So you're going to get that. It's going to be golden stuff. It's a free bonus. But seriously, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Our whole motivation behind this is that we bring what we call art for your heart. And it genuinely is not so much about the paintings as it is about what this does for you. We love doing this because it's a great way for us to bond, spend some quality time together. And sometimes that's hard to do if you're having, you need to have a hard conversation with a loved one, or you want to spend time with your daughter or your mom or someone that you're close to, and you're trying to figure out maybe how to do that. Instead of just sitting down and staring at each other face to face and having that eye contact pressure, you can pull out a paint kit and you can just casually paint, maybe start talking about some stuff. It's a really great way to do that. So with that being said, I think we're good to go.
Okay,
Yeah.
we want to encourage you to get a drink, maybe put on some of your favorite music, maybe even go a little wild and light a candle. And just relax if you're going to join us. And we're going to get started. I'm going to go on the other side of the table.
I am also here in the corner with my laptop to answer any questions that you have in the chat. I haven't checked those yet. I think I've seen a couple pop up, so I'm going to do that now. If you just want to chat, please chat. We would love to hear from you. But if you also have any specific questions, we're here to answer that as well.
Woo!
And to
Sorry about that,
throw
guys.
things. Sometimes that's therapeutic as well. You know, you don't use the easel to paint on, you just throw it down. It's okay.
Okay, I think you can see that.
I see M.
Hey.
Oh, hey girl. I miss you so much. Let me see. I'm going to mute my laptop so that it doesn't make noise.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I start off getting the background done? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm going to get my paints and
Here are your paints, and this is what comes in the kit. I apologize, the way the camera films, everything looks backwards. So this is 1, 2, 3, even though it looks odd. So we're going to start with the first color, 1 and 2. This is dried clay and white. And we're going to put a little bit of dried clay out and a lot of white out. Okay? So I'm just going to dump that right here. And you don't dump it all though, but do use a good portion. And I've already gotten into this one, so I'm going to steal some from this bottle that we have over here. I like to paint out of the little pots as well because it just helps me to teach you how to regulate how much paint to put out there. But I've got a little bit of dried clay, a lot of white. I'm going to try to hold it at an angle so you can see. But I'm just kind of blending it together, but not evenly, okay? We want uneven color in this. And we're gonna start in our background with our 1/2 inch flat brush. This is the biggest brush you have. And we're just kind of going to do some uneven strokes. I like to think of them as kind of like little X's. And what you'll do is you'll see streaks of the dried clay color, you'll see streaks of the white, and that is exactly what you want. This is not house painting, so you don't want to make it all nice and smooth and even. You want exactly the opposite.
this is a great time, at least what I like to use it for, if I need to, if I've got some frustration, I can just kind of get it, just it's helpful. But also you can, if you're less in a mode and more in a mode, you can do that too. Just sit here and cry it out. That's also what this is for. We like to say that this is a little bit art class, a little bit art therapy. It's just a good combination of all of the above.
And I like having the two different colors not just one color that you're getting out of a bottle, because you do, when every time you mix it up, you're going to get a little bit different variation, and you're not mixing it evenly. And that is so much prettier than just having a plain old background.
That is so true.
And if you get it a little bit darker than what you think, then just add a little bit of light on top of it and play with it. Just have fun. Jade, I like what you said, because really and truly, I always say this, art therapy really is a thing. We say art for your heart,
Yes.
but it really is a beautiful outlet.
I think it's a very constructive outlet. My number one thing, and I've been realizing this about myself more and more lately, but my number one thing when I get kind of stress paralyzed is to go straight to things that actually drain me even more, because I'm just trying to get by,
That's a great point.
Well, I think that art, if you can give yourself just that teensy bit of energy to put some paints down, grab a brush, and just go, then I think that art is a really great way to not expend a lot of energy, but do something constructive that's an outlet, versus just maybe numbing things out on your phone, or
Yes.
yeah, I'm trying to think of
Yes.
other things that I do.
Mindlessly streaming videos and movies, and
So easy to do.
It is. Let me show y'all real quick. And see, when I'm going around the edge of this boot, I make a pretty straight line, but as soon as I get that line in there, then I go back and I kind of bust that line up, just because you don't want to create a halo effect. You want it to all be uneven. You want it to be unevenly uneven. How's that?
Oh, I have a question for
What
you.
you got?
Sheila is saying on the Instagram live, and I see it. Sheila, thank you so much. Your canvas, there's just a little part of this corner that's not totally in there.
Okay,
Is it
I can
possible
move
to
that.
over just a little bit?
How's that? I don't want to cover you up. How's that?
I'm gonna see. That's still not quite there, but I'm gonna see if I can position my camera a little better too, because that's actually, I think, what's gonna really do it. Sheila, thank you. Let me go around here.
Yeah, because I
and see
kind
if
of...
I can get that. I know you can't move yours anymore.
No.
There we go. That should be better. Y'all, I wish you could see my setup. It's literally a 2-foot stack of old books and cookbooks to get my camera. We only have one little phone stand, and so, it's almost there. It's not totally there. So I had to improvise. There we go. There we go.
Well, and I want to go back to what you were saying.
There we don't go. What do you want to go back to?
Yeah, this is all in real time, so
Oh, I know, it's great.
it's fun. This is what they used to do in the old days with live TV. No, I was gonna go back to what you were saying, Jade, because that's actually how I started painting. I think most of you know, some of you may not know, but I am a professional oil painter. I am a Western artist. That is where my heart is, both with canvas and with my life. And it was many, many, many years ago, but I was going through such a painful period in my life. And it's one of those, and I know everybody has been through periods like that, but it's something you just can't get away from. And it was so painful, and my mind was just overloaded, and my heart was broken, and I was so, so sad. And I really feel like God just put it on my heart to draw. I had this urge to draw something, and I had never drawn before. I was well into my 30s. And so I went and I found this book at the library, and it had some old Western pictures in it, and I started drawing. And I discovered two things. One of them was that whatever was in the book, I could copy it. And my drawing looked just like the one that was in the book. And the other thing that I discovered is when I was doing that, my mind was so focused on what I was creating that I wasn't dwelling on the pain that was going on in my life. And I'm telling you what, that was a game changer. I mean, I had such a release and a relief. And what you said, Jade, about it being such a constructive I don't know the word you use.
Outlet?
Outlet, yes, much better
Yeah.
than what I was thinking.
No.
But it is such a constructive outlet, and it really does give your mind a chance to just kind of take a break without taking, alcohol or drugs or television or shopping or food or any of the things that it's so easy for us all to indulge in that probably aren't real healthy. So
Yeah.
that's how I got my start with art.
I know it sounds silly, but sometimes I forget that. And when you do share that, here and there, it just hits me all over again how powerful that is. Because it's one thing to talk about this stuff, but I think in our own separate ways, and mine's not nearly as powerful as yours, but in our own separate ways, we've lived it, I don't want to just be going around saying, oh, this is art for your heart and it's therapeutic and blah, blah, blah. No, this is a very firsthand experience.
Yeah.
I think I first discovered how therapeutic art was in some counseling sessions that I was doing, and I was doing an art project, and I experienced this very tangible shift in my brain from the thinking analytical side to the creative side. And the thinking analytical side, as I'm working on this art project, was just, I had all these horrible inner thoughts about how I couldn't make it look good and it was terrible. And I honestly wasn't even aware that I was thinking that way, because that was so second nature. Well, it was first nature to me.
Oh.
And I don't know exactly when the shift happened, but somewhere kind of halfway in that art project, my brain switched to the creative side and I really became aware of what I was saying to myself. And I'm sitting there drawing whatever I'm drawing, and I just start crying.
Oh, darling.
It was kind of dramatic, but it was really sweet. I think because when you realize these things that you're telling yourself and you think, I would never say that to someone that I love. Why am I saying it to myself?
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. And it was really powerful. So even if you're thinking, man, art is not my thing, or you're thinking, I've never painted before, or I could never do that, we make these for people who think that. Yes, if you are experienced and you're artistic, you can totally have fun with this. But if you've never done it before, or you're kind of iffy about it, this is also for you.
It really, that's a good point, because we do a lot of live parties, private parties, and then we have public venues that we go to. But we have people all the time that come in there and say, oh, I'm so scared, I've never painted before, and I can't do this and I can't do that. And you know what? We've never had somebody leave that wasn't just absolutely tickled with their painting. It's been really wonderful to get to share this and watch these people just kind of come to life when they get through that messy middle. And I usually I'll take it away from them and I'll say, okay, now look at it. And I'll step back 6 or 8 feet. And you get a different perspective when you step back from it, which, oh gosh, I guess that's another metaphor for life as well. And their little eyes, they just light up and they're so excited because, oh, that's not bad. I like that. And it's just so sweet. Now, you can just go back in there, and if you want to add some more light or some more darks, just play with it and get it however you like it. But that's basically all I'm going to do for the background. How you doing over there, Jade?
I'm doing good. I'm almost done with my background as well.
Okay. And now we're going to switch colors drastically. So first of all, wipe the extra paint off of your brush.
This isn't just a color switch. This is a drastic color switch.
It's a drastic color switch. And wash your brush off real good, because we're going to continue using this brush. This is, once again, your 1/2-inch flat brush. And then please make sure you get all the excess water off. The last 2 nights we've been doing beach scenes and we've been using a lot of water in the paint, and tonight we're going back to the old way where we're just not going to have any water. All right, we are now going to start painting our boots, and we're going to do first this front boot and then the boot behind it. And we are going to do navy blue. And Why navy blue, you ask? Because I did this painting. I had my boots on top of the island for a couple of days, and I came up with this drawing, and that's why they're navy blue. So you feel free to make your boots whatever color you want. Okay, we're going to use number 3, the navy blue, number 2, white, and number 6, the black. And first we're going to use just I want you to keep those piles separate, please. But we're going to use navy blue as just a general color over the whole thing. And then we're going to add a little bit of black to the navy blue and paint this back part here. And then we're going to add a little white to the navy blue and paint this front part and some of the folds in a boot. And that will give you the feeling of that boot being 3-dimensional instead of it just being one flat color. So we're pretending like our light's coming from here, and there's going to be light right there in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and get that out on my palette now. I'm going to scoop a little bit of white out here, and then I'm going to scoop a little bit of number 6, the black. And let me warn you ahead of time, the black, a little bit of black goes a long way. So be very, very careful. Be stingy with your black, okay?
Really quickly, Georgine says hi.
Hey, Georgine.
So, I know.
Love you, girl.
Georgine is our amazing cousin.
All the way in Tampa.
I know.
Okay, so let's go to just the navy blue. And take a teeny bit of that black and mix it with the navy blue.
Oh,
and we're
shoot.
gonna start over here in the back. What's the matter, Jade?
I did too much.
That's okay.
You told me not to. Multiple times.
Well,
What did I do? Too much.
I actually got a little bit too much too, but that's no problem. You just go back over it. I like it to have pretty dramatic color on it.
I know, it is pretty.
Yeah, I did get too much.
Well, and if you think about, this helps me a lot when I'm looking at it thinking, oh, it's not mixed well or it's too blobby. If you think about lessons in art appreciation or whatever class, you took about impressionistic art, it's not, oh, that was big lightning. Woo! It's not supposed to look super smooth, That's the whole effect, is it looks best when you stand back a little. So, I love that look.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things I struggle with in my painting, is trying to loosen up a little bit. I went to a good friend of mine, Mary James. She's a wonderful, very successful abstract artist, the other day, and she had me painting with a stick, and then she put a 3-foot pole with a paintbrush on the end of it. She was doing all these things to kind of loosen me up. So okay, now I did this with the black, and actually, you know what I'm going to do? Let's wipe off that brush. Don't wash it, just wipe it off, and you'll get some of that black off. And then I'm going to come over here, and the next section that I'm going to do, I'm just going to do this with the pure blue. So it's coming lighter than that first part that I did in the shadow. And that is exactly what I want it to do. Now, let me warn you, you got a line going straight down your boot right here. I want you to leave just a pencil width for that line right there, because we're going to come back over that with a little bit of brown. That'll be one of the last things that we do, but if you have that white strip, then your brown will show up a lot better instead of going ahead and painting it and then putting the brown over it. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I be totally honest?
I wish you would.
I zoned out that last sentence, and I was just saying that to be supportive.
Well, I'm thinking about what you said, and this week has been so crazy. It's been wonderful, wonderful. But, yeah, brain's probably a little bit tired.
Mm-hmm. That was also Nisa.
We have a really, really dear friend, and, I guess it was her last year of law school. I don't know, but but she was going through the ringer. She was so exhausted, and she had been studying and just involved in so much. And we were at a wedding, and she was telling us a story, and she couldn't remember a word. She looked at her husband and she said, "What do you call that thing that you put your clothes in to dry?" And he looked at her very lovingly and said, "The dryer?" It's like, oh yeah. But that's just, to me, I will never forget that example, because this is one of the brightest people I know, and her brain was just so overloaded that couldn't remember what you call the dryer. It's always been an encouragement to me.
I know. I feel like there's grace for myself there.
Absolutely.
It's bad though. And I've been going back and re-listening to Sense and Sensibility, which is one of my favorite books ever. And there's all these vocabulary words, and I'm thinking, I know I have looked this up at least 5 times, and it's not sticking. So I don't know if that'll ever happen. But if not, it's okay. I'm not going to worry about it.
That's why we're so blessed with these smartphones. You can just find anything out. I can look up words. I remember when I was a kid growing up, I'd ask my parents, what does something mean? And it was always just a standard response. Look it up in the dictionary. Well, I don't have to look it up in the dictionary anymore. I just have to press a button or two.
Oh,
okay.
that's the response I got too. I think that was pretty standard until not that long ago.
Yeah.
But I might honestly be the last generation that got that, you know?
Did I make you look stuff up in the dictionary?
Oh. Did you? Gee, I don't know if I remember. No, it's good though, because it makes you feel accomplished, and then you get to learn how to use the dictionary, and then there's always going to be a word above it or below it that you're going to not know. And the dictionary that we had always had really fun black and white sketches and pictures of some things here and there. So it was, yeah, I didn't like it, but I did like it. I secretly liked it, but I didn't want you to know that, so I'm sorry. Okay. I'm just going to say it. I'm so sorry to interrupt things, but there is so much lightning. I think I'm going to go let the horses out because it's really bad.
Okay, be careful. And
no, I will.
Okay.
It'll be fine. I just don't want to keep them in there.
Okay. Okay, I am going up all the way to the front of this boot, and I'm just still using straight navy blue, and we're going to get that covered, and then we're going to add a little bit of white, or a lot of white, however much you want to, and we're going to do something fun just along this edge here. And then the way that these boots are, you know how old boots are, the leather just bends and it has these buckles in it, and we're going to use some of the white to accentuate that part of it as well. So all I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of white and I'm mixing it with my navy blue, and we'll see. I may have too much white on there, but you can always go back and fix it. But I'm just going to drag it down here, and I don't want this to be like an even, perfect kind of thing. Let's go right like that. Yeah, I got it too white. But I'm gonna just stop it right there at that little crease, because it would start to indent right there, and there would be a shadow under this part. Now I'm going to leave that like that and just come over here to this piece. Jade, thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, yeah. Lisa was worried about me. She was waiting at the door.
I know. She's so scared of the storm. And I'm just kind of following this around. And there's actually even a little bit over here, because there's a buckle there. That's what causes that to bow out like that. And I don't want that to be quite that bright, but now I'm just going to kind of play around with this and blend it a little bit, but I'm not worried about blending it perfectly. You do want to have this kind of just a little bit here, a little bit there, but not too pretty. These are some old work boots. And you kind of get the feel. I mean, this is the front and this is the back. And you need that light to give you, the light and the shadow will give you the roundness, the 3 dimension of the boot. But also now we're going to come back here and do this boot behind it. And we're going to start out with this part will be some of our black, a tiny bit of the black mixed up with the navy blue. And that will be your shadow. And that'll create the contrast between the light here of this boot, the front boot, and the shadow of the boot behind it. And that will give you that 3-dimension feel. You'll feel the depth in the painting. So I am just wiping this off. I am not going to wash the brush, get that excess paint. I'm going to take just a tiny bit of the black, and let me get a little bit more of the navy blue, number 3 out there. And we're going to start the process all over again.
Woohoo! Just get extra practice.
Yeah, we'll go back here, and we're going to do, just go straight down like that.
For those of y'all who don't know, we have 3 horses. We affectionately call them our heathen horses. And they're out. They have free range, but it's funny to say that because I usually just say that in regard to chickens. But the horses do as well. And we pen them just to eat in the mornings and the evenings so they can be separated and not bully each other. But on the rare occasion that there are storms like this, we obviously like to let them out as soon as possible for their safety and ours. So that's why I ran out there.
Yeah.
They were looking at me like, it's about time.
I know. Let me show you one thing right here. This little triangle is part of the boot in the back. And it's so easy to forget that piece. So don't forget that little part right there. And you can do it with this brush. If you're more comfortable getting your smaller brush, you just do whatever you want to do.
And while you're doing that, I also want to read Sheila put the sweetest comment. Sheila, thank you so much. On Instagram, she said, I'm so pleased with my painting kit. I just love the quality of the materials. I'm super excited to paint it on Sunday.
Oh, thank you, Sheila.
So sweet.
Yeah, Sheila just got, fresh off the press, we got these painting kits for Hope Anchors the Soul, which is, we did that demo last night.
And that's actually our painting of the month for May. So there's still plenty of time to get that one, but Sheila's also our neighbor, so we just got in the car, went around the corner, gave it to her, and then went on to town for some errands, so it was perfect.
It was.
While I'm thinking about it, I'm actually going to put a link to that in here.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Just as a reference point.
Okay, and now I'm coming back with just the pure navy blue, and I'm going to bring it all the way to the end like I did before, and then go back with a little bit of white in my navy to do the highlights and the light on the edge of the boot.
Oh, not yet.
This painting is called Strong Soul, which I just love, love, love. It's kind of a play on words. You can take it a couple of ways. But, you know, I was thinking about it today, Jade. The soul is, I mean, if your soul isn't strong, whether you're talking about your boot, I mean, look, you could have the most beautiful boot tops in the world, but if the sole of the boot has holes in it, those boots aren't doing you any good. And, you know, I think about it the same way with myself. If my soul isn't solid and really, let's just leave it at solid, then the rest of me is going to pay the price for that. You know, my thoughts aren't going to be where I want them to be. My peace isn't going to be where I want it to be. And then that just kind of is like a segue for that painting that we did our Tuesday, Hope Anchors the Soul. And we were asking everybody, what is your hope in? Because I think personally, I know that it's really natural and easy, and I mean every word of it when I say that my hope is in God, my hope is in Jesus. But to actually live that out, I think sometimes it's real easy for me to get distracted and focus on other things that I can easily become overwhelmed by.
Yeah. That's really a good point.
Okay, now I'm going to go get just a little bit of white and mix that like we did on that boot in the front. I'm going to come over here and just pull it down a little bit.
That is a really good point. And that's something that I think is really fun about these projects is that a lot of them are multi-layered like that.
Yeah, we like to go for the deep dive.
Okay.
I'm going to bring a little bit more white there. And then I'm going to wipe it off my brush, but I'm going to just kind of play around with it and do a few little spots here and there. Make sure that I don't have just that real distinct line. Just blend it a little bit, but not too much. And if you blend it too much, you can go back over it with some dark. You can just do whatever you want. Okay, now I am going to take this 1/2-inch brush and wash it. Wash it real good because we're going to put it down for a bit and switch to the 1/4-inch flat brush. Your smaller flat brush, and we are going to go to paint pot number 4, which is the dark brown.
I was honestly surprised when we were reviewing the paints because I looked down and I thought, is this all we have? But it's more than I realized, and then when you mix them, it makes a lot more colors than even what's there. So I'm getting into it now thinking, no, this is a lot of paint.
It is a lot of paint.
I'm just not a good judge, I think, of what's a lot of paint and what's not a lot of paint. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes it trips me up a little bit. Which I guess is most things, to be totally honest.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking. Okay, y'all, we are just use that little 1/4-inch flat brush and the dark brown, and all we're doing is just covering this boot.
Oh shoot, I did not mean to do that.
The heel of the boot, and then we'll go around to the tops of the boot. Not the tops, the front of the, what do you call that? My boot.
Vocabulary.
Vocabulary is lacking.
The top, the bottom, the heel.
Well, I know that these are
sole.
the tops, that right here, the things that are on your legs are the tops. So this is the heel. So what is that part right there?
I have no clue.
Write in the chat if you know what you call that part of your boot.
That would be extremely helpful. I saw a little thing flicker on my laptop and I thought, oh, did somebody type in already? No, it was a QVC email.
Oh.
That's not helpful.
I guarantee you if Rory was here, she would know.
Oh my gosh. Y'all, if you are not familiar with Rafter OM, okay, I always get the words flipped. Can you say it for me?
No, you're good. Rafter OM Cowboy Mercantile.
Yes. Wow. There is some incredible stuff, and one of the many things that I love about it all is that it's equally beautiful and functional. Like, it is built to last. Rory Roberts is the incredible brain and hands behind all of it, and she makes things that she can actually use. So it's not just decorative stuff.
Oh, she does such beautiful work.
Just when I think, man, how can this get any better? She whips out another one. We had to take something today to get notarized, and I was using this gorgeous portfolio I have that she made, that you gave me, with my initials on it. I mean, it's customized. It's incredible. Okay, this isn't looking terrible.
No, it's not. We're going to do the bottoms, or this part right here.
Okay.
Let's just do the front boot first, because we're going to have to do the same thing on this boot, on this this part here, the toes of the boot, as we did up here, we're going to have to make this light right here at the top, and then the shadow here to differentiate the front boot from the back boot. So this is your lesson in, not really, light and shadow.
Yes, give us the art lingo.
Well, I tell you what, do you know there's two kinds of shadows? There's a cast shadow and there's a form shadow. So this would actually be a cast shadow. Yeah.
What's the difference? I don't think I know that.
Well, the cast shadow is like the light is coming from this way and it's going past the boots and you see it's casting a shadow on the ground.
Oh,
Versus the form shadow, which is actually, it will be just exactly the shape of the object. I'm going to come up with some examples, and we'll do that one time. I have to go dig in my art books. It's fun. I like to go over that kind of stuff.
The way that you talk about art, it reminds me of high school chemistry.
Oh no.
No, that's a good thing. Because I remember learning about how a fire is made, and the chemical reactions that happen, and it was like a whole new world was opened up to me, because all of a sudden it's almost like you see the invisible things, underneath and behind it, and the ingredients that make up the whole world and the universe. And it reminds me a lot of when you talk about art, because I don't know stuff about form and cast shadow and all of those kind of technical components, but all of a sudden you realize there are these layers and things that I never knew that existed. I guess kind of same thing if you learn about the human body or anatomy or health sciences, it's just fascinating.
Okay, we've covered this with the brown, and now I'm going to do the same thing with a little black in the brown and a little white in the brown. So let's start off with just a little bit of black in the brown. Once again, remember, be gentle with your black because it is a very powerful color. And let's see what we got there. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to bring this dark just kind of right here on the bottom, real close to the sole, or right above the sole actually, just to indicate that that's kind of turning under a little bit. It's not really something that you would notice a lot, and it's going over the line a little bit, but that's okay because we're going to come over this with black, so don't worry about it. If you get out of the lines or get something where you don't want it, you can easily go back and just paint over it. And if you can anchor your hand or your pinky on the canvas, I'm doing this on the easel so that you can see it easier, but the best way I think to do these is like Jade's doing it flat on the table. It just makes it so much easier.
I'm sorry, because I definitely have the upper hand in this thing.
No. Okay, now I'm not going to wash my brush off. I'm still using the 1/2-inch brush. I'm going to wipe it off, and I'm going to do a little bit of brown with some white.
Brown and white.
Or a little bit of white with some brown. Either way.
Is it the chicken or the egg?
Okay, and now we're just going to go over this very edge here, just like that, and I'm going to stop right there and just kind of make that little hump and stop right there, and then do the same thing right here on this toe. But don't bring it all the way down because that wouldn't be realistic. We just want the light kind of hitting from here. And I'm going to just blend it a teeny tiny bit, and because that paint's wet, when you bring it out like that, you'll lose white as you keep going into the brown, and that's what we want to happen. We just want it to be kind of a natural progression. I got a little bit heavy-handed with the white there. Not to worry, because then you just come back over with a little brown, and there you go. It blends nice. And I don't know about y'all, but right here, my boots always have a little scuff on the edge there. So I'm gonna put just a little highlight there, and I'm gonna go, and I always have a scuff back here on my heel, and a little bit right there. Just kind of break it up a little bit. You can do that wherever you want to, and you can do more, you can do less. And now we're gonna go to the boot in the back, and we're gonna do the same thing right here on this edge that is next to the front boot. We want this to be our brown and black so that we have the distance between the two boots very clear. So I'm gonna wipe my brush off real good, get that extra paint off of it, but I'm not getting it wet. And let me get a little bit of that black out of there. It's hiding in the paint pot. Okay, here we go.
It's an introverted color.
And
Just another bad joke. That was nice of you for laughing. Nope.
I got it a little bit dark. Yeah, let me add a little bit more brown to that. I tell you, that black is just really powerful. Okay, and we'll just follow that edge using this little 1/4 inch flat brush.
And if you don't get exactly in the lines, that is totally okay. You can just paint back over it.
Absolutely, I do that all the time.
If this was not for giving paint, I would not be doing it.
Okay, now I'm gonna just bring this over to the toe, the tip of the toe like that. And then I'm gonna wipe it off, and I'm gonna go just to the pure black. And I'm gonna do the rest, to the pure brown, number 4. And I'm gonna just paint the rest of it like that.
We did this as an art party a couple of months ago at Winery on the Green in Green, Texas, and everybody just had so much fun with it. We even had 2 awesome ladies that had hot pink spurs. Everyone just did an amazing job. People did different backgrounds. We had kind of a mint green colored background at one point. I think we probably had a kind of a fuchsia color background too, if I'm remembering correctly. But
oh, it was great. Everybody just really had fun creating. We always bring extra colors at the parties and let people just, you know, really encourage them to do whatever they want to do. They don't have to stick with our colors.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you have ideas for other colors you want to see as a kit, or if you'd like to do a party, you just let us know. We like to say that we have grit, we'll travel, because we are a mobile service, so we come to you.
Okay, now I'm going to wipe this off, and I'm going to mix a little bit of white with my brown. Number 2 with number 4. Okay, and we're going to go to the very edge here and do it like this, just to the edge. And I'm not going all the way down in that crease. There we go, and just to the tip of the toe, not in the front part. And now I'm just going to pull it a little bit. Oh, I've got a little bit too much paint. Okay, I'm wiping the paint off. I'm not wiping it off with the paper towel. I'm just wiping it off on my palette and just kind of blending it a little bit, just so we don't have a real harsh line right there. Kind of fades in. There you go. And I like that. I think I'm going to leave that just like it is. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the heel of the boot. And the heel of the boot is going to be some black, number 6. And I am still using my 1/4 inch flat brush. I'm going to use a little bit of brown and just a tad bit of white. I just want there to be some variation in color from the base of the boot versus the sole. Okay? And we're going to just follow that around.
When I'm doing these white highlights on things, it always takes less paint than what I think. Every single time. I surprise myself.
It does. And that's fun, because then you can just go back over it and...
That's very true.
Yeah, just get it however you want to. I really think doing that back and forth thing makes the colors prettier. You just have a variation in the color, and I love the way that that looks.
I agree.
I'm going to add just a little bit more brown and a little bit more white. There, that's what I want. And I'll tell you why. Because this little triangle right here is underneath the boot. That's the heel part underneath at the bottom. And that is going to be black, black. So we're going to have that be the blackest black. And therefore, we need to lighten this up a little bit, and the same thing with the sole, so that you can see the separation. Much like we did here and here, and then here and here. And you want to talk art language, that's your value difference. And value is just a fancy word for light and shadow. But you want this to be lighter here, and then this little recess right here is going to be black, black. But I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to continue on this part of the sole. And you may be more comfortable doing this with your little liner brush. If you're getting frustrated doing it with your little flat brush, try the other one. You don't have any rules here, okay?
Yeah. We got rules everywhere else. We don't need them here.
The only rule is you have fun.
Okay. It's decent. Yeah.
My paint is drying up on me. I need to mix some more. Get a little black, get a little brown, and get a little white.
Would you say that your boots are your favorite item of clothing?
Yes, undoubtedly.
I kind of knew the answer to that one, but I thought it would still be a fun question.
That's a great question. Okay. Let's do that. And now, I tell you what we can do is just go ahead and continue this line for the sole of that boot in the back. And then I'll show you a fun little trick. Okay, we got that like that. Now, it all just makes one big line, and that is, we need to create separation here. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix some white with the color that we've been using. And I'm mixing a pretty good amount of white because I want this to stand out. And these boots right here, the toe goes around like that. I'm going to go to where the sole is, and I'm just going to make one little spot right there. You see, it's like the light hits that sole, and then that separates the front boot from the back boot. And I'm going to do the same thing right here. come down to where the sole is and just make one little spot. Just simple, simple, easy, easy. Don't overdo it, okay? And if you want to just put a little bit more highlight, maybe, you know, if you don't, that's fine too. You just figure out what you like and what you don't like. Okay, now I'm going to switch to my liner brush. Wash the brush we've been using, the 1/4 inch brush off, because that paint will dry on you super fast. And we are going to get pure black, and we are going to do this little triangle right here.
Oh yes. Here he is. He's an important piece. I was doing my Fabulous Flamingo painting last night when you were talking us through it, and looked down and realized that 1/4 of it was missing in the a corner of it was missing. It's gone. The words are gone. I totally forgot to put paint there, so where sand should be, there was a white space. So I'm trying to be better about it tonight, but it's so easy to do.
Oh, it is. I love the way you did that painting.
Thank you. It was really fun. I don't know. There's something about painting a flamingo. I feel like you can't be mad or sad while you're doing it.
Oh. Okay. You know, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to move on to the spur. And you've already got your little liner brush with some black paint on it. And all we need to do is we need to add some white to that. And you want to get it about the color of aluminum foil. I got a tickle in my throat.
Cough it out.
Oh my gosh.
If I can drop the phone on camera, you can cough on camera.
Yeah, this is definitely live.
Are you okay?
I am. It just happened. Okay, let's get this. Like I said, you want it about the color of aluminum foil. And I'm just mixing white and black with my little flat liner brush. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paint the part of the spur that is right here over the heel.
Okay. I think it's coming together pretty well. I mean, yours obviously is. Mine was the questionable one.
Oh, I love the way your work turns out.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
Boy, we are really getting some whitening over here.
I know, it's crazy. It's also fun, you know, even if it doesn't look exactly the way that I want it to, it's fun to just kind of move the paint around and mix it together, and I don't know, there's something just relaxing about that. I like it.
One might even say therapeutic.
Definitely have not heard that word tonight so far.
Okay. Now, before I go to the shank part of this spur, I'm going to take a little bit of black and I'm going to make a darker gray. And while it's still wet, I'm going to just come over here from the edge and pull it toward the center. And all that that's doing is that is showing you the shadow on the back side of that spur. And I'll blend it in, and you get the illusion of the spur going around. Instead of it just being a 2-dimensional, we're making it 3-dimensional. And I'm going to put a little bit under here, because right there where that spur strap is, you know what, it just reminded me, Rory actually made these spur straps for me.
That's right. We were talking about Rory is behind Rafter OM Cowboy Mercantile.
Yeah, she made those a long time ago.
She did. They have held up really well.
All right, we'll do that. And just for fun, I think I'm going to get some really light and just kind of put a little bit of light right here on this part.
Oh, Sheila is asking you if you wear spurs.
Every day. Okay, now we're gonna go back on this part, the shank part of it, with the same color that we did for this part, okay?
Oh, and Michelle is also asking something, but it went away. Where did it go? That's the one thing I think I've discovered. Oh, of course, now it's taking forever to load. That's the one thing I think I've discovered with these lives is that sometimes not all the comments come. Oh no, she's sending a text. Michelle, the weather is ominous, but we haven't really gotten rain yet. It's just lightning and thundering a ton. But the sky is kind of threatening.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to go outside and hang out. Okay, now I'm going to get that dark color, the dark gray, and I'm going to put just a little hint of a shadow right here. And then this is the rowel of the spur, and right here in the center of the rowel there's going to be a little round thing, so I'm just going to put a hint of a shadow there. And then I'm going to paint these guys the little picos on my rowel.
Little picos.
Little picos.
Oh dear, I'm using the wrong size brush. That's okay. It's gonna be okay. It is gonna be okay.
It's all gonna be okay. All right, and you know what? There's your spur. Look at that. And now, while you've got that gray color, let's go over here and we're gonna paint this little button right here, because this is what connects the spur to the strap. And that is a little gray metal. And then I like to get just a little bit of white and put a little highlight on that. Just like that. There you go. Now, since we're on a gray binge, we'll go over here and do the buckle. I'm doing this again with the liner brush, and it's that gray color, kind of aluminum foil color.
We're gonna be done with this before we know it. It's all of a sudden I looked up and the boot's almost done. Okay, I'm gonna add my little tiny parts right there.
Okay, and I'm just gonna put a couple of little highlights, little white on the buckle here.
Ooh, that's so cute.
Let's call it done. Okay, wash that brush off.
Ooh, that looks good.
You like it?
I do.
Good.
I mean, I'm talking about yours. Yours looks good.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
I obviously can't see it because it's not facing me, but I can see it on camera.
Okay, we're gonna go back to the brown, and we're using our liner brush still, and this is why I wanted you to leave this little piece of white here. We're just gonna follow that down and just fill in that white. It's funny, everything tonight is making me think about Rory, because I remember I got a pair of boots one time, and the stripe, this thing that we're painting right now, it was actually white, and I hated it so much, and she got some acrylic paints, and she got just the right color, yeah, and she painted it for me, and it just turned out so pretty.
Oh.
It still has that paint on it too.
I forgot about that. Those are your dress boots,
They're
right?
my dress boots, yeah, which I never wear, so they're They look brand new and I've had them for years.
When you pull them out though, I don't think I say this, but I think when you pull them out, I think, man, she means business.
Aw.
Now we're in action.
Yeah, they don't get worn very often.
Okay. I want to do this.
Okay. There you go. And that just kind of adds a little bit more character to the boot. And I'm going to wash off my little liner brush. Get your excess water off. And I am going to switch to my little 1/4-inch flat brush, the smaller flat brush. And I'm going back to the brown. We're still working in the brown. And we're going to do these little boot tabs, boot pulls. And these guys are going to be brown.
I don't know what it is, but it is so hard to find knee-high women's boots, you know, that are good quality.
Well, and I'm going to mix a little bit of black and with my brown here to keep the difference between the space. These boots, you know that, these were some custom-made boots that I had because I hate shopping for boots, and
Yep.
I was real happy with the way these turned out.
They're really nice.
I liked it so much I had another pair made.
I hate shopping, period. I'm right there with you. Okay.
Okay, and we're going to do the same thing over here. While I've got this black-brown color, I'm going to just go ahead and paint that back tab right there. And then I'll wipe my brush off and get just the pure brown color, number 4, and I'm going to paint this front tab.
There we go. The thing I love about these paintings is that it's great to do by yourself, but it's also a great activity if you're going to do like a girls' night or a family night or even a date night.
Oh, you are so right.
Isn't that fun?
It's really a fun activity, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You get a fun drink, put on some good music.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can even have another activity planned, or you can have like a nice dinner in, and then you just get your little video out and your canvas and your kit, and you're good to go. You can talk about life, solve all the problems of the world. I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
No. I was just going to say we're going to go to number 5 now, to the honey brown. And I am still using my little 1/4-inch flat brush, the smaller flat brush. And we're going to paint the insides of these boots. Now, if you are more comfortable using your little liner brush, you just use whatever you need to use to get the job done.
I really appreciate that there's really no right or wrong way to do this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that kind of makes the activity a bit more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got that one done. We'll go over to this guy and get the inside of this one done. And then the last part that we're going to do on the boots is going to be the spur straps. And those are going to be fun. I like doing the spur straps. Now, we talked about value a while ago, and you see how my value here with this honey brown is really the same light or shadow equivalent to the background. So I'm going to take just a little bit of black and I'm going to mix that in with my honey brown color so that it won't just blend in, it'll be distinct.
I like that. Oh, Sheila says it's slightly raining now. Okay. I love the thunderstorms. I think they're so beautiful, but I always think I like to get something out of it. So I'm glad we're getting some rain. That's great. There's been a lot of rain already, which is wonderful.
There has.
Did I get the right? Okay, yes, I did. Okay.
Yeah, that whole edge that's going to be against the background, I'm just going to keep that with some of the black in it. And then maybe fill the inside in with a little bit lighter and blend the two. But you can see the difference now because you can really see that doesn't blend into the background because the value is darker on the inside than it is in the background. There you go. That's your art lesson for the day. Okay. Now.
Oh dear. I may have a few blobs of paint on things where they should not be.
That's okay. Go ahead and take your 1/4-inch brush and wash it off and get your excess water out. And we're going to switch to your liner brush. And we're going back to number 1. We're going to use number 1. The dried clay color is going to be the color of the spur straps. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to mix a little black with it to create the shadow. And that will give you the differentiation between this strap right here and what it's over. And we'll do the same thing on this one. And then we'll use a little bit of white to create highlights. So let's start out. I like to start out with the shadow part of this. So take some of number 1, your dried clay, and put it on your little palette. Okay. And then take a little bit of number 6, your black. You may already have some. I've already used all my stuff up, my black up. Actually, it dried on me. This stuff dries so fast. Okay, now I am just mixing some black with my dried clay color. And let's get it. I want it fairly dark. I'm going to go back over it, but I don't want it too light because we want to create that shadow effect. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just going to go around. Let's go over all of this part right there. And where these lines are, I'm going to go around the outside of these lines. It's as though these straps, these shadows are outlining the lines that are already there. And that made me just a little bit dark. Let me add a little bit more of the dried clay color to it. Because as you can see, once again, we'll talk about value. My value here for the shadow and the buckle is the same. So you lose your dimension on there. Mm-hmm. So I may have to come back and lighten my buckle just a little bit. Okay, and we'll do it right here in this little hidey hole. And then we'll come around here and just outline the buckle again.
Oh, Joy is here. Oh.
Joy Graff?
Yes.
Oh, hey, girl. Golly, that's wonderful.
We love you and we miss you.
Yes, we do. Okay.
Joy's got her own crazy boot stories. Woo!
And we're just going to follow those lines around. And all that you're doing is you're creating your shadow. Okay? And I'm going to bring it around here on that one in the back so that we can have a little separation between that front bootstrap and the back bootstrap. Spur strap, I'm sorry, not bootstrap. Okay, there we go. And just for fun, I think I want to make a little shadow around here. All right, now I'm going to go back. I'm going to wipe that off, and I'm just going to use the pure dried clay color. And that's what I'm going to paint everything else with.
Got it.
Okay, and you can blend it a little bit with the shadow, but you don't want to completely paint over your shadows because that kind of defeats the purpose.
I am pretty obsessed with this dried clay color. It literally looks like you took a terracotta pot, you ground it up, and then you just poured out the liquid, and that's what this paint is. It's so pretty. And it goes on so thick and
It's
nicely.
a good color, yeah.
There we go.
Okay. We'll come here and we'll blend it just slightly. Don't lose your shadow, but you don't want it to be just a straight line either. You want to kind of blend your edge a little bit, but don't lose your shadow. That's super, super easy to do. And don't worry, if you paint over it, you can just go back over with some more shadow.
That is very true. Some things that I like to think about when I'm doing these paintings, especially this one, or ones that have different themes like this, is like with this one, it's our strong soul boot painting. So I like to think about things that I've done in the past, where it took a lot of strength to do that I'm really proud of doing. I like to kind of ask myself different questions like, where do I get my strength? How do I keep my strength replenished? Yeah, who are people that help cultivate that strength in me? Who are people that take it away? We can't always separate ourselves from all those people, and that's just kind of life. I think we learn how to navigate that, but I think it's just important to know.
Yeah.
And it's also great questions just to talk with others about if you're doing this with somebody or with a group of people. It's a great way to get to know somebody more, even if you're already really close. Sometimes I like to think too about areas where I'm really weak, and that's okay, and maybe ask myself why and how I'm working through that. It's amazing what comes out of this one tiny brush.
It really is.
Here we go.
I think you can start to see the way that shadow is just making the separation. And then we'll even come and hit it with a few highlights, and that'll even make it more fun.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Just touch it here and there, breaking that line up where the shadow is. Ideally, if you could have the paint wet, it's so much easier to blend it, but these acrylic paints, that's just not the way they're made. They dry so quickly.
Just because I can't see it very well, what brush are you using right
I am
now?
actually using the liner brush right now.
Okay, me too, and I like it so much better.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think I've tried to use the little 1/4 inch brush before, and I just didn't get the same results with this. So
No, and I think we just have more control with this brush. There's not all of it, but there's some intricate little spots on these straps that I think we get just a little bit more control. And especially if you're not used to using a brush.
Yeah.
We want this to be user-friendly. Okay, and there you go. Now let's go ahead and do this strap in the back boot.
Okay, one cut to be a shadow. Another one there. And I am just moving this canvas all around. I keep kind of rotating it, which is a great thing to do. And it also helps when you're not using the easel to do that, but you can do it however you want to. You can flip it upside down, you can turn it all around, and that's what it's all about.
No, that helps a lot to just move it. You don't need to leave it in one position. Once again, the only reason I'm doing it this way is just so everybody can see.
Yeah. Thank you for the sacrifice.
Oh, it's a job. Somebody's got to do it.
I know, it's just terrible. But I also know, knowing you probably take it as a challenge.
I know.
Which is good. I'm not saying anything bad about that.
No, I know what you're saying, and it's true.
Okay. That looks not half bad. Okay. It does help, you're right. It does help when it's wet to blend it.
Yeah. I like the way it's really pretty when you can get it when it's wet. That's when we were doing the tops of the boots with the navy blue. That was really pretty, having all that wet paint.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you, when you step back and look at this, you're going to love the way it looks.
That's the key. This is just like any other goal that you're working towards. There's going to probably be a point in the middle of it, like you were talking about the messy middle earlier, where you go, this is terrible, I don't like it, you get really frustrated. Just stop, just take a break, step away from it. Come back after a little bit and look at it from afar, reevaluate, maybe get a drink of water or something else.
It's a really good horse training thing too. Sometimes you just have to say, I need to go tie you to the tree and step away. Okay, I'm going to wash off my liner brush and we're going to switch brushes for just a moment. And I want to use my 1/4-inch flat brush and make sure you've got as much liquid out of it as possible. And I'm going to take just a little bit of the number 1 dried clay color and I mix it with just a little bit of white. But wait, don't jump ahead because I'm going to show you something. Okay. Okay. I've got just a little bit of white in that dried clay, but I don't have a lot of paint on my brush. This is almost a dry brush technique, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to come right up here on this strap and I'll put a little highlight like that. And just a little bit, touch it there. And right here, I'm going to do the same thing on the edge of this. And you're doing the same thing that you were on the boot tops with the navy blue, separating one from the other. And you're just kind of creating a more definition on your spur straps there from this front one and the back one. I'll put a little highlight right here.
And I actually, just for funsies, I made mine a little bit lighter than the rest of it. I hope that's okay.
Oh, are you kidding? I love to see variations in that.
I didn't think you would mind.
I think I like the way that looks now. It doesn't take much, but it just adds a little bit. I'm gonna put a little bit more. There we go. That's kind of fun.
Does that look more the way you want it to?
Yeah, I just added a little bit of extra there. A little bit right there on top. And I'm going to do the same thing right here, but I'm not going to come to the outer edge because you see, we're talking about value again. I want that dark against that light to keep the separation. So I'm going to come just a little bit away from that and pull some light right there. And do the same thing right here, right here, right here. Just wherever you want it, just to break up the color a little bit. I think I want a little bit more right there. Just so you can see it. And I like the way that looks. Okay, and I'm going to continue using this brush, but I'm going to wash it off. So we have our 1/4" flat brush. Wash it off real good and get all your excess water off. And we are going to do our base, the table that the boots are sitting on, or the floor. You know, it can be whatever you want it to be. Okay, and we're going to use number 5 honey brown, and we're going to use the honey brown with white on this top part here. The shadow part is going to be honey brown with black. So first of all, I'm going to put some of the honey brown out on my palette. Get a pretty good bit because you're going to go through quite a bit of paint. And then I'm going to get a little bit of the white, number 2. And I am putting these guys in separate piles. They are not going in the same pile because we're going to mix them, but we're not going to do these little crisscross strokes. We're going to do like streaks, and imagine, I like to imagine the grain of wood, what it would look like.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, just kind of bring it across. And you want streaks in it. And I'm going to start, you can bring your brush like that, kind of tuck it up under the boot and then stretch it out. You can do it that way, or you can just do it the way that we have and follow that line. And then you can come up and break that line up. But don't mix your colors up real well. You want those streaks in there because it really will be pretty. And as I said, it'll look more like the grain of wood. I'm going to just follow this around.
And if it helps to look at the picture online, just kind of as a reference point, you can totally do that. I do that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
With paintings, with puzzles.
It's almost like, you know, you're mixing it on the canvas itself. Let me put this up a little bit so you can see the very edge of it. Don't worry about making that perfect because your shadow, this part will be darker and you can paint over something if you got out of the lines a little bit. Okay, we're just getting it real uneven. Put some dark in there, then put some light in there, just kind of the way you'd see it on the grain of wood. Okay.
Okay.
Let's
like
go.
it.
Let's go to this little spot right here. I'm glad you like it. That's good.
I know. It's a good feeling.
It is a good feeling. Okay. Let's follow this straight across. And I'm leaving it fairly dark without too much white in that top part so that we will have a value change and you can tell that this is the tabletop or the floor and then this is the background. We don't want the two to blend together.
I'm really glad you said that because guess what I'm doing? I'm blending them together. Oh boy.
And now you can get it lighter coming down here, because it just doesn't matter.
Actually, I know what I'm gonna do.
It's kind of fun just going back and forth with the light and the dark. Just please don't make it all the same, because I promise you'll like it so much better if it's kind of messy.
Yes.
There. I think I'm going to leave my table alone.
Ooh.
And I am going to go to this part. Now I'm going to wipe my brush off. Don't get it wet. And I am just going to mix number 5, the honey brown color, with some black. Once again, I'll say it 20 times, don't use too much black. It's really, really strong. Get a little bit more.
Unless you want it really dark.
Yeah, you want it dark, go for it.
Just know that that is the look that you will be getting.
Okay, let's see what we have. I kind of like that. Now, I do make my shadow kind of the crisscross strokes. I don't worry so much about like doing the wood grain look on these shadows.
Oh yeah.
I'll get that line established, and then I'll come back through and break it up.
That's helpful to know.
And I think I've got it a little bit too dark. I can come back over there with some more of the honey brown color.
Oh, that is not the color that I wanted. Well, I know we talk about this, how we tend to get the navy blue and the black confused because they look so similar
They
in
do.
these big bottles.
Yeah.
So I just got them a little confused, but that's okay.
They really do. Especially, you know, some of these, like when we go to winery at the Green, the lighting sometimes, my eyes don't see as well as I would like to when I'm looking at those bottles.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to read what it is.
I know, it's really easy to do.
Sheila, if you're still with us, you're going to have to put a picture up send us a picture and we'll put it on the Cowgirl Grit Facebook page of your painting. I'm excited about you doing that.
I know. And if you have any questions at any point too, please just let us know.
Absolutely.
There we go. Oh my gosh, I paint all over my hands, which is nothing new. I might just call that done. Yeah, maybe.
Are you done? Did you finish?
Oh, I think so. If I dare to say it, I think I did.
That's great. I am almost finished.
There we go. Just needed to kind of mute some of that stuff a little bit. Got a little wah, which I fully support. There's nothing wrong with. It was just wah where I didn't want it to be. Okie dokie. I know we were talking the other day about crazy things that we've done in boots, and I was trying to think of some of them, and I feel like one of the craziest, also coolest things that I think you've done that I've witnessed,
Uh-oh.
I think it was even in these boots, is the one time I was on my way to a wedding and I get a call from you, and you were so hyped up on adrenaline. And you're like, Jade, I just killed the biggest snake. Oh my gosh. And y'all, okay, at the beginning of the video, if you were here, you saw Sweet Nisa walk through. So this poor dog all summer was guarding her little goat herd and got bit twice. Once, we think at least, by this massive snake. And you finally found it. And
I did.
it was this epic story of having to get to it. It was in brush that was up against a fence line. Am I saying this right? Am I remembering this right?
Yeah.
And the neighbor came over with his tractor, and he beat it with the tractor, and then he beat it with the chain, and then you shot it multiple times.
Yeah, we're talking about a rattlesnake that was over 5 feet long.
Fat,
oh,
right?
Oh my gosh. And it was the first walk
Fat.
I had taken Nisa on, in that I was checking fence in the pasture, and I was riding my colt, and I'd take him. Well, I was walking for whatever reason. I don't remember. And it was the first walk that I'd taken Nisa on since she had recovered somewhat from that bite. And oh my goodness. You lovely individuals who haven't lived in South Texas and heard that buzz, you just don't know what you're missing. I'm telling you, you hear that and it kind of almost sounds like water spewing out of something, but it's like psst. And it is a sound that will put chills up your spine.
So fun. So fun.
Yeah, I did do that in these boots. That's a great point.
I thought it was over 6 feet long.
No.
I think it felt like 12 feet at least.
That's what Ralph said. It was like an anaconda rattlesnake. It was a big sucker.
Oh.
Okay, are we done?
I think so.
I love my painting. How is yours? Let's see yours. We'll put them up here together.
I'm just gonna do. I'm just gonna do one because I saw something and I'm tweaking it. No, I don't want to tweak it that much. Ah! The pressure. It's okay. It's okay.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Relax. Take your time.
Under pressure. Okay.
Thank y'all so much for joining us. This has been lovely, and we really appreciate you being with us. And let us know if we can help you with any of your art needs.
Yes. We are here to answer questions. If we don't know it, we can problem solve it together. Okay, I think I'm done. This is what I've got.
Put them up here together. Ah, Jade, that's beautiful.
Is that okay?
That's
I love yours. That is
absolutely
so pretty.
Beautiful.
I did the best I could, and that's all that counts.
Baby, you did great. You did great.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much for joining us. Have a
Yes.
blessed evening, and we will catch you next time.
Bye, y'all. Thank you so much.